I'm Matt Gibberd, co-founder of The Modern House. In this series, we're homing in on the 5 key principles behind a well-designed home. So far, we've learned about space with architect Simon Alford. We've looked at light with artists Langlands and Bell. And architect Laura G. Matthews has taught us about materials. You'll find all of these films on our channel. Today, we're taking a look at the 4th principle, nature.
Hello.
Hi, Yasuyo.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm not bad, thank you.
Nice to see you. You well?
Yeah,
Good.
thank you.
We all know that nature makes us feel good, but how do we embed it into our daily lives? I've come to a family home in the London suburbs to find out. For Yasuyo Harvey, getting hands-on with nature is a way of life. She harvests plants from her garden to make sushi, and she uses the seeds to create botanical artworks. She and her husband Phil have made a home where the materials, furniture, and objects are all connected to the natural world. They've recently built a studio in the garden. Clad in charred timber and lined with plywood, it's a place to find peace and quiet in the company of nature. So Yasuyo, tell me about the garden, because obviously you really wanted to make sure you had a decent sized garden, so tell me about that.
Sorry, could we cut for a sec? Sure.
Oh, the spider, nature, you said.
On the front of the end.
Oh, sorry. I love flowers and plants. Especially I grow Japanese herbs which I can use for Japanese cuisine. That's this process using something from garden and put in dish just makes them feel joy to do it.
Can you tell us about what you've made for us today? What is this from the garden?
Yes, so that's a traditional dish called kaki no hazushi,
Okay.
which is is sushi in a parcel of the leaves, and the leaves from persimmon tree, which is I planted side of the garden last year.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to try those, maybe not in front of the camera, but I'm going to give it a go. So I love the floor. Did you guys put this in?
It was carpeted throughout originally, and we're not a huge fan of carpets. This was with a friend actually who was able to get who was that? Yes, they were a set builder for theatre.
Right.
I was able to come in and knock this up really quickly.
Like checkerboard plywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought about the pattern of the wood as well to make sure this kind of colours.
Oh, so you've laid it in different directions, so it's
that's
really
right,
lovely.
yes.
So that just the grain comes through.
In Japan you have sort of bare earth walls and powdered
Yeah.
earth, and so just leaving the plaster as a nod in that direction without
Yeah.
being too explicit about it.
So tell me about the project that you've done here. What was the house like when you got here?
There were some strange things like rock-shaped speakers in the garden, but I think the best is just standard house.
Yeah, standard suburban semi.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how would you describe what you've ended up with?
Non-standard suburban semi. What did we end up with? Our house, really.
Yasuyo, I have to ask you about your work, because obviously it's everywhere in the house and in here. How do you describe what you do? If someone asks you at a wedding, "Hi Yasuyo, nice to meet you," what do you do? What do you say?
I would call it botanical styling, maybe. It's the easiest way.
No, I wouldn't say it's a profession that's particularly on the list when you go and see the careers advisor.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly beautiful thing that you do. Is that something that you've always done? When you were a child, would you take things from the garden and bring them in and rearrange them?
Yes, while I was spending time in my grandparents' house, there was a lot of materials, and you can source anything. You find the mountainside to rivers and the garden. My job was to make a bench for praying place, the Butsudan, which is
The house shrine.
house shrine. Yes.
Right.
But for me, it's just one of the prey. It's quite natural, and yeah, it was somehow duty as well to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Kintsugi, that's my new hobby, and then it's perfect place to put in
Is this what you've done here?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell us what is kintsugi?
the chipped edges of the ceramic and pottery. You can mend with a lacquer, and you put gold or silver powder
Okay.
to finish.
Okay.
And
Have you done it in this one as well?
Yes, that's
So that's silver?
Yes, that was completely broken and cemented.
I provide most of the chips.
Yes,
yes,
we
do
did,
this.
yes.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly.
That's excellent. And then these must be more of your creations, Yasuyo.
Yeah, they're from seeds from garden.
Seeds
as well.
from the garden.
Yes, in the autumn season, you have to tidy the garden. It's so beautiful. It's a shame to throw them away.
Yeah.
And I tend to collect them, and then I was thinking what I could do.
Right.
And then I got loads of pots as I'm a collector, so I just arranged them in it. So you have seen this on the wall.
Yeah.
I used this is kind of over the time you get it's dried and it's kind of bleached. Lots of floral artists use them.
Yeah.
I grow them.
Yeah, okay.
I source the materials nearby or garden or surrounding. You don't have to buy expensive flowers from the market.
Yeah.
That's my policy.
Yeah, locality is important. And I remember you telling me last time we met that you'll be driving along sometimes on a motorway and you'll see something out the corner of your eye.
Tempting to pick, but you can't instantly stop. So you just remember that place. There is a nice front.
Okay. I know that Kettle's Yard in Cambridge is one of your favourite places. Am I right?
Yes, I like the setting. There's really famous paintings over the house, and all of a sudden you see the pebbles. I like the contrast of it.
I say in the book that jagged forms are actually not very nice to live with, you know, straight edges, because they actually stimulate the amygdala and they stimulate a stress response. Whereas a chair like your Thone rocker that you're sitting on there, it's very curvaceous, it's reminiscent of a snail shell and other forms found in nature, and actually that calms us and settles us down.
But I think this is kind of combination with modern architecture, all straight lines, but in that space has a kind of organic shape work.
Yeah, exactly right. The contrast is really great, isn't it?
I specifically wanted to grow the plants that I can see in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
By the shed is lots of shade, so that's perfectly suitable for ferns and bamboos.
Okay, so you wanted a reminder of your Japanese heritage.
Yes, indeed. In the summertime, I spend most of the time in my grandmother's house, which is a mountainside.
Okay.
There's lots of nature, so it kind of reminds me of time there. And then they were growing vegetables and rice, and we had to do lots of harvesting and planting, as well as playing little stream, catching fish.
What about you, Phil? What kind of environment was it you grew up in?
So I'm from the West Country, so the village I grew up in had 300 people in it, so very tiny. And it was similar in some ways, so it was, I'd be off down the woods and that's where we hung out, as it were.
So you've got a son yourselves, Noah, who, is he 10? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
He's 10. So how do you feel about his own childhood and his connection to nature and the landscape?
Well, because we got dog and lots of big park around, so we often go for walk, and he get to play with balls because our garden is not huge for the ball playing.
Yeah.
When it was his last birthday party, we had it out here with, you know, marshmallows by the fire, and his friends were eating in here. And they feel relaxed. Inside the house, there's a TV screen, so kids gravitate towards that, and video games and whatever. Out here, there isn't one, and you see them change in the way that they're interacting. They're having fun outside. These houses of this kind, they kind of have two different extensions that are easily possible. One's right at the top in the roof, and then it's this out the back. So we're pleased when we found this place that this extension hadn't been done. So it was something that we could do when we got here. And it's interesting because you'll see the layout of the wall at the back. Everybody, builders, architects, everybody assumed that we'd want to have big bifold doors at the back. But we're telling them, no, we want to have one big window and a closed off door to create the two sections. And so it was really nice to do what we wanted as opposed to what was already done.
So how did you set out to relate the house to the garden?
So there's kind of little details we started with, like the window here, and there's a square box garden. It's very full now, but the square is reflected, and there's 4 square beds here. That's about as much thought as we put into it, and then we let it evolve from that point. We wanted a place here to sit that we could look at the garden, because we knew we were going to do things with it. And if you've got a bifold door, it's a door. You can't really sit in front of it or leave things permanently there. And then on this side with the kitchen, just to be able to have a sink looking out to the garden was important. And so that kind of informed what we wanted to do.
So talk to me about this really beautiful water features. Did you have that made?
I bought them screens and then the bowl separately. Yes, separately. And because this height is perfect from the kitchen window to see the birds having their bath.
So you placed it sort of far enough away, but at the right height, so you can see them come, and that's so nice.
A really good spot.
And the plants are cut as well to make sure that we can always see it. So there's lots of places for birds to perch around, but also there's a good view through to the bird bath.
The plant looks nice with the background of charcoal, and then it's an inspiration from Peter Zumthor's Serpentine Pavilion.
Serpentine Pavilion.
Yeah, that really reminds me of it's a nice combination with plants and charcoal.
Yeah, the green looks amazing. Gets flat,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Tell us about this. This is basically acting like a gutter, isn't it?
Yes.
So the rainwater runs down it.
Yeah, it's nice to see the rainwater coming down. It's just meditative looking.
Yeah, exactly. And does it make a sound? Presumably you hear it dripping into the bulb.
You hear that, yes, when it's a rainy day.
Yeah.
And then a collection of water can be used for watering as well.
We designed this together, and the idea was to have a space, and a space where we could go, a space where we could eat, a space where Yasuyo could work, and be messy, leave it, shut the door, go back inside, those kind of things.
In Japanese, it's called naya, which is like a storage building, but it's kind of multifunctional space that you can use wherever you want to, basically.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Take a peek there.
Ooh. Broken and creaky, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the theme again, isn't it?
It used to be his work chair.
It used to be my
and
office
it's broken
chair.
and I came here.
Yeah, I broke that too.
think what really strikes me is the way that you've taken really humble things that other people haven't necessarily seen value in and given them huge aesthetic value just by repurposing them and by pairing them up with something from the natural world. I think it's...
Yeah, and then if you touch it, it falls apart, and then it's also fine because you can restructure again. So
yeah, nothing's fixed. So they come together, and it's not balance. I know some people are obsessed with balancing things, and that it's more that it will stay as long as it can in that shape, in that position, and if it gets knocked down, maybe that's the time to change.
Yeah,
those kind of things.
That's interesting. Yeah, like the seasons themselves.
Yeah.
You're staring me down, aren't you?
But in the springtime, you get really nice sunlight from here.
Yeah.
So it's a nice place to have a nap as well.
Yes.
On that ledge there. And that's so nice.
Yes.
Yeah. And how does the garden change in the seasons, and how do you respond to that?
I planted some cherry trees that it's really reminds me of a season. And springtime you get flowers, and in the autumn you get colored leaves. And that's quite nice.
Can we try these now then? What do you reckon? You guys must be starving.
Yeah, please.